All right, here we go. Paradox of Sports, episode 46. We had some internet struggles there. We got to figure it out. We're good to go. Jack, what's going on?
Nothing. I had baseball practice yesterday, a game on Sunday, and now my brother's at soccer.
How's baseball been going?
We're doing good. In league play, we're 5-2-1. But the little kids team, I think it's either 5-0 or 6-0.
Nice. So we'll start with the mound. Well, no, let's start. Where are you even playing in the field? When you're not pitching, where are you playing?
Pretty much anywhere.
Okay, so you can play all over.
I haven't played this year are first base and center field.
You've caught?
No, I haven't played catcher.
Okay, God, I was going to say, I thought we talked about that you didn't do catcher. I never did catcher either. That's a special kind of person that plays catcher. So what about at the plate? How are you batting?
Okay. I'm not the best batter, but we're doing fine.
That's fine. You guys are winning. You're doing good. You're winning games. So what about on the mound? How's that going?
It's going really well. We have a tournament this weekend. The only two confirmed games of the tournament are us playing like this stupid team name. I can't remember. It's either the Blasters or the Slammers. And then we're playing the Yetis.
Okay, right on. Well, that'll be good. Get into some tournament play. Hopefully the weather stays warm. I know you guys had to cancel practice just because it had got cold down there.
So yeah, and it had rained. It was actually because it had rained.
That's not conducive to good baseball weather. We still got snow in the forecast. We were able to get out to the lake last weekend and do a little tooling around, but now we're showing snow for Sunday and Monday again up here. So that's just part of being up here, part of the life.
Mm-hmm.
So first we'll go NFL draft. Did you like what the Broncos did?
No, I did not like that draft. They should have taken Justin Fields because you can't trust Teddy Bridgewater here.
You don't now. Okay, along those lines, though, do you feel like maybe we passed on a quarterback because Denver is the front runners supposedly for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, the Packers GM says they're not trading Aaron Rodgers, so that's why I thought they should take a quarterback.
Now, do you think that there is a chance that Rodgers just doesn't go back to Green Bay? Like, do you think he just, like, if Green Bay doesn't trade him, do you think he just sits out in his contract and doesn't go play?
Yeah, kind of like the Melvin Gordon holdout of 2018 or 2017 because he couldn't get a good contract done.
So how do you feel? How does an 11-year-old young man, what do you see? What do you think about athletes that say they're just going to sit here? Does that bother you? Does it change your opinion of them? Do you understand the business side of it, or what? Like, how do you feel when you see that?
I mean, I understand the business side of it. If you're not going to get a long-term deal done, you might as well just not play if you're not getting the deal. But I wouldn't sit. I would just play as normal.
Go back and do it.
Yeah.
Now,
or just like request release. That's something that Aaron Rodgers could do. Then possibly retire and start working with Jeopardy long term.
That was my next question. Where we were going to go with that is, would you rather be the host of Jeopardy or the quarterback for the Denver Broncos?
It depends on if the Denver Broncos are good or bad in this case.
Okay, so let's say the Broncos are the Broncos right now and they're terrible, and you could take, let's say it's, 35 million, 40 million a year to be the quarterback of the Broncos, and then like 20 million a year to do Jeopardy. Would you take less money and be the host of Jeopardy as opposed to being on a crappy football team?
It actually depends on the quarterback of that team. Like, if it's the quarterback right now, then heck yeah, I'm going to play for them. But if they have like a really good quarterback, say they like draft a really good quarterback, I may want to host Jeopardy.
Yeah, just go that. And because I mean, in reality, Rodgers has probably made his money. Like, he would never have to make another cent the rest of his life, I would assume. But Alex Trebek was 80 years old when he passed away, and he hosted Jeopardy right up till the end. Rogers is 37, right?
36 or 37.
Yeah, so 37. So 3 is 40. So 43. He could legitimately host Jeopardy for more years now than he's been alive already. So you know what I mean? Like that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, Jeopardy is a long-term deal here.
If you get it, it's a long-term deal, and I think it's a pretty cush deal, especially if you can do it and not suck at it. So I think that would be a big deal. Did you like Trey Lance going at 3 like he did?
It was kind of surprising to me. I thought they'd take either Mac Jones or Justin Lance, but no, they decided to go with Trey Lance.
Did you like the kid at 2 to New York? Like, what do you think about him?
I think he's got all the good tools. Yeah, one thing that could be questionable is that, or it's not that questionable, it's just a problem he has. He has ADHD, but...
And I think the other thing, he looks like he's your age. Like,
yeah.
He is a very,
he's
a very
Mac
young
Jones is my age.
Oh yeah, Mac Jones looks your age. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. They both look like children. And you look at some of these other guys and you're just like, my goodness, these are big men. They're gonna be chasing him around trying to kill him. So I don't know, man. We'll have to see how it plays out. So hopefully it looks like the stadiums will be full. You guys should, with your season tickets, you guys should be able to go to some of the Bronco games this year. So are you looking forward to that? Of all the things that could come back here through the end of the summer and the fall sports wise, is the Broncos, are they on the top of your list for what you're wanting to get back to? Yeah, I want to watch them play and play football in general.
Gotcha. So you want to,
like, my plans for football is for my football is, if I don't make the Corwin football team, which is my school, if you don't know that,
okay,
I am going to try out for Pueblo. I think it's a travel tackle football team called the Dream Chasers. Like, a lot of my friends play on that team, and I want to try out with them if Corbin doesn't work.
Okay. Well, that'll be fun. Give you something to do.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm going to share my screen real quick to put up a comparison of me, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So let me pull it up. Share. We're sharing. So that's Zach Wilson.
Dude, he looks like one of the main characters off those teeny bopper, like, high drama shows my wife watches on like HGTV or something.
Yeah, and then this is me. Can't you see the comparison?
Very close. Very handsome, very young. He does a little more product in his hair. I think he has a little more product in his hair than you got right now. So, yeah. Okay, let me see Mac Jones now.
All right, this is Mac Jones. Let me find him. This is Mac Jones. For you.
See, I don't think he doesn't look as young to me. The other one looks young.
Or no, it's like the build, as my opinion, for being young. But he still kind of looks like me. Look, that's him, and that's me.
Yeah, I see it.
I look like two quarterbacks at once. And if I grow my hair long, I'm going to look like this guy. Let me pull him up. Yeah, if I grow my hair long, I may or may not look like this guy.
No. Now, unfortunately, you're going to
hold on. Let me pull up a picture of him without his head thing on.
Okay.
Look at the face comparison. Don't it look similar?
Your nose is never going to be as big as his. And he's like 6'7", which I just don't think you're going to get to there.
Yeah.
I think of all the ones you look like,
I'm not hitting
the
his
Jets
height.
guy. Yeah.
But
I saw a deal today that through high school and college, he has never lost a regular season game, ever. Never lost a regular season game in high school or college.
But I think but were the two games that Trevor Lawrence lost in college? Wait,
They were in the playoffs for college.
not that Clemson Notre Dame game when Notre Dame beat Clemson. But then again, Trevor Lawrence was off the field.
Yeah, as I say, Trevor Lawrence didn't play. So, yeah.
So Clemson's lost, but not Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, well, we got a little bit more to talk on the backside, but you were back in your wheelhouse again. I'm anxious to see how this one does. This ought to be up there when you're top. This was a cool wrestling dude. So good interview, lot of information. Like he said, he doesn't really do a lot of interviews, so it was cool that he sat down and talked with you guys. But I think it was pretty cool. So if you want, who we got tonight?
Introducing former WWE writer and WCW announcer. Please welcome Vince Russo.
Barrel Brothers is ready for ice-cold beer season. Temperature in the beer cave? Ice-cold perfect. Drive-through? Ready. We've even added more cooler space. Have over 100 craft beer choices. Yeah, it's like that. And Barrel Brothers customer service. It's just like that. Ice-cold beer cave. All the right choices. And friendly people. It's gotta be Barrel Brothers.
Now that's a cold beer.
Introducing one of the most controversial figures of WCW, TNA, and WWE. Please welcome Mr. Vince Russo.
I'll give you applause, Jack. Hold on. There you go, Jack. That applause, Jack, is for you. It is not for me, Jack. Jack, how you doing, man? I am very, very happy to be here. I don't like doing a lot of interviews, Jack, but when I heard there was an 11-year-old superstar out there, I said, I got to be on that show, Jack. So here I am, bro.
All right. What got you into wrestling?
Well, I'll be honest with you. What got me into wrestling was I owned a couple of video stores when video stores were really just taking off, and I loved it. I loved the industry. I loved having my own business, but unfortunately, Blockbuster put me out of business. So I really needed to get a job. I had a family at a time, and I just thought, I watched wrestling, growing up. I just thought it might be cool to get in that industry, and that's why I decided to get into it.
Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
I had a few. I loved the Valiant Brothers. I loved Chief Jay Strongbow. I loved Ernie Ladd. I loved all the managers. I loved the Grand Wizard of Wrestling and especially Lou Albano. So, I had quite a few. Superstar Billy Graham was great. So there were quite a few people that I was fans of.
Talk about the 1992 to 1993 radio show, Vicious Vincent's World of Wrestling.
Yes, that's when I first got into radio, and we kind of did a radio show in character, having fun with it. It was almost like a kid's show, if you could think of like a wrestling type Mickey Mouse Club type of thing, but it was all for fun. We were all characters. We talked about the storylines, but the cool thing about that was it made me love radio. When I first got started in that in 1991, man, I really wanted to do radio after that. I was way more in love with radio than I was wrestling. So that's when I got my first taste of radio, man. And I really love that. I really love that arena.
Talk about your start in WWF, being a freelance writer.
Yeah, that's what happened, man. I was doing the radio show, and I was paying for the radio show out of my own pocket, and I was running out of money. So I wrote Linda McMahon a letter and I introduced myself and I gave her a little bit of my background and I told her I was just looking for an opportunity. And I did not know that Linda was in charge of the magazine. And I did have a degree in journalism. So Linda hooked me up with the editor of the magazine at that time. And I started freelancing for the WWE magazine, probably about 1994-ish, probably right around there.
So where'd you get your degree from, Vince? I'm a mass comm grad, mass commie as we call them here at Colorado State University Pueblo. So
yeah, no, I actually went to school in Indiana. I got a degree, I got a scholarship in journalism. So I actually went out to school in Indiana.
oh, nice.
In 1997, you became WWF's head writer, including writing for Monday Night Raw and pay-per-views. This seemed to be the turning point to put WWE back on top of the Monday Night Wars and launch the Attitude Era. What was that experience like?
Wow, it was a lot of work. We had a lot of work to do at the time. We were just coming off a very, very bad stretch in the WWE. The product was not that good. The ratings were not good. And we knew we had a lot of work to kind of change that product and turn it around. So it was, when you ask me that question, Jack, the first thing I think about is how much work was involved. I mean, there was work, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to basically get the WWE back in the game.
And during that stretch, there was no on-air personality for Vince Russo. It was all, behind the scenes, correct? You're busy coming up with storylines and character concepts.
Yeah, they had a show on Saturday mornings called Live Wire, and I appeared on that like a couple of times, but that was just like a Saturday morning in and out thing. My main concentration was television, but I was still doing the magazines too at the same time.
In 1999, you left WWF and was hired by WCW. Talk about the move and why you made it.
I made the move because I had made my job more important than my family, and that wasn't sitting well with me. And I had a conversation with Vince McMahon about it, and Vince, told me that he said, basically, I pay you enough money. Why don't you hire a nanny to watch your kids? And that did not sit well with me. And the minute Vince McMahon said that to me, and he made it clear to me, he didn't care about me, he didn't care about my family, I just decided I no longer wanted to work for somebody like that, because family to me, Jack, is very, very important, number one.
But before Vince made that comment, how was your relationships with the McMahons during your time there with WWF?
That's a great question, because I cared about the McMahons very, very, very much, but I always wonder if they felt the same about me personally, or if I was just the cash cow at the time. I often wondered. I didn't know the answer to that question, but then when Vince made that comment to me, it was crystal clear. This guy doesn't care about me or my family. He just cares about his business. And, he wants me to make it, more important than my family. And I'm just not going to do that.
What were some of your favorite bookings during your time in WCW?
Well, my favorite storyline was probably when The Rock joined the corporation, because that was, that was like a 3-month story. It was very intricate. We had planned it out for a very, very long time. I think that was wrestling writing at its best. I don't think you're going to see anything like that anymore, because a lot of time and thought was really put into that. And that's my favorite storyline.
And even back in those days, I mean, that's when it really exploded with just some of the factions, DX, and we can get to, okay, would there be a DX without the NWO, which you've heard before, but the Mick Foley, between Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love, And then, of course, the creation of Kane, which I know, if I'm not mistaken, he had rave reviews working with you, during that whole process when he became, went from a dentist to a Hall of Fame.
He was great, though. Glenn Jacobs is one of the nicest human beings I ever worked with, man. And he was really, really great to work with. He made it really, really easy.
Yeah. And we're working on scheduling, so hopefully at some point he'll come on our show. We're working scheduling out details. He's a little busy running the town, so.
Yeah, right. Exactly. A little busy. That's true, man. Yeah.
Talk about your return to WWE in 2002.
Well, it never really happened, bro. It's amazing from the time I left in 1999 to the time I almost went back in 2002. During that time, it had become a publicly traded company. It wasn't privately owned anymore. And it was just a different company. It was a different company. It was a different world. It was a different structure. They were already doing things differently. And I was not going to be able to work in that structure. We had success doing things a certain way. And in the structure they had at that time, I would not have been successful in that structure.
When it comes, you bring shareholders into the mix and, hedge funds and everything else when it comes to sponsorships, we got so-and-so locked in as a title sponsor of Monday Night Raw or this or that. We can do this, can't say that. We need to push this agenda. So
Yep.
I hear your hands can certainly be tied,
Absolutely.
when it comes to that realm of it. But
yeah, and if
Jack,
if I can't write with absolute freedom, then I can't write.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack, rewind a little bit. Let's go back to WCW since we covered, pretty much all things WWF/E.
All right. So then we've got the Montreal Screwjob. Who actually knew about it? There were conflicting stories on the Dark Side of the Ring when they covered that event.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what, I was involved in it leading up to that day because obviously I was meeting creatively with Vince. But even that day, I did not know what Vince's decision was. So like to this day, I don't know who was involved and who knew and who didn't know on that day. I wasn't involved with it on that day. So I honestly don't know.
So, from after that moment, I mean, obviously that's a huge turning point when it comes to wrestling, pulling the curtain back some. Obviously it had a huge impact, but do you think it hurt or helped the wrestling business?
Oh, I think it definitely helped the wrestling business because all of a sudden it became very, very real. And it wasn't fake, phony, silly storylines and promos. It was very, very real. And I think that's what wrestling has gotten away from today. Again, it's at a point where it's not real. It's not relatable to the real world. I think it was very, very important for the business at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Very predictable now.
And then you've got the Bash at the Beach incident with Hulk Hogan, which we're still talking about to this day. What happened behind the scenes leading up to that altercation?
Everything you saw, Hulk knew about. Regardless of what people want to say, regardless of what people want to believe, everything you saw on TV, Hulk agreed to. We had talked about. The only one who was not in on it was Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett was not in on it. I didn't tell Jeff Jarrett what happened till the following day. But as far as everything, Hogan laying down, me cutting a promo on Hogan, Hogan leaving, all that stuff was discussed beforehand.
Wow. I mean, you guys did an amazing job keeping that hush hush, because I remember watching, I'm like, what the hell just happened here?
Well, some of the emotions, I got to be honest with you, I think it came across that way because some of the emotions were very real. Like I know for me, I didn't know Hulk had a problem creatively until that day, like literally a couple of hours before. So like that really pissed me off that he could have let me know before we got there, and I would have had time to work something else out. So like I was really, when I cut the promo, I was really aggravated and not in a good mood. And I think that helped, but everything that went down, he knew about.
Yeah, that's probably, you got your list of promos. That's certainly one of the ones you mark down in history, is one you don't forget.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and a place in wrestling history that's not going to go away, and just an amazing thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Talk about your time in TNA and other small wrestling companies.
Well, yeah, man, I was at TNA for 10 years, man. I left a couple of times, but I came back. I was there for 10 years. It was a company that we started from the ground up, and there was a point when all of us were very, very proud of the business that we were doing there. But I'll be honest with you, man, when Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff came in, it just changed for me. It wasn't the small company where we were all giving our blood, sweat, and tears. All of a sudden, man, it was political, just like WCW, and it wasn't fun for me anymore. And that's why right around 2012, I think it was January, February 2012. That's why I finally left. I'm not a big politics guy. I don't play politics. I do my work based on hard work and being honest and being the best I could be. When politics start to play a role in something, I don't do well with that.
What do you do in your free time now?
Well, man, I really don't have that much free time now because I started podcasting in about 2014, about 7 years. I started russosbrand.com. And, I've really built it into a great podcasting channel. I got about 12, 15 other wrestlers under my umbrella, and they all do shows, and we all do shows together. And I've been doing this now for about 7 years. I love it. I love the freedom. I could do and say whatever I want. I don't answer to anybody. And this literally has become my full-time job for the last 7 years.
And you're here in Colorado, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I love Colorado.
So, and I didn't realize that. You're up Thornton area?
Yes. Yep.
So just on the outskirts of Denver. What brought you to Colorado?
Man, when I was 22 years old, I had to come to Colorado for a business meeting. And I remember getting off the plane, and I was just overcome with a feeling of like, you're supposed to be here. And it took me, about 25 years to get here, but we've been here now for about 14 years. I love everything about Colorado, man. I'm so proud to call Colorado home. I love it here. I love the lifestyle. I love the land, and it's just great to be here.
Awesome.
What are your thoughts on the wrestling world today?
I think it stinks, Jack. If you want to know the truth, I think it's terrible. It's not the wrestling I grew up in. It's not the wrestling I was a part of. It's something completely different. And quite frankly, I really have no interest in it. That's why even with my podcasting, I'm doing less and less and less wrestling and more other things that I'm really interested in. It's not professional wrestling anymore. You could name it something else if you want, and that's fine, but it certainly is not the wrestling that I grew up a fan of.
What about AEW? That's the new kid on the block, and they seem to me making some leaps and bounds, going a little over a year, full blown there on TNT. You know, you think that'll help kind of reshape things, a little more competition in the
I
wrestling
think
marketplace?
that's turning people off more because it's not wrestling. You know, anybody that tunes into that show, they're going to have memories of wrestling and what wrestling was and what wrestling used to be. And they're going to tune into that show. I'm talking about casual television viewers. They're going to tune into that show expecting to see that, and they're not going to get that. They're going to get Circus Soleil with people jumping around and flipping around and jumping on each other. And that's not professional wrestling. So I don't think it helps the industry. I think it hurts the industry because what they're doing is they're really whittling it down to a very small niche market. And that's really what wrestling has become today.
What was the greatest moment of your career?
The greatest moment of my career was when my kids were born, even though that wasn't my career. You know, Jack, I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't have any because I went to work every day and I did the best job I could do. And I was the best I could be. And that's been my work ethic with every job I've ever had. It's my work ethic today with russosbrand.com. I do the best job I can every day. And I guess my proudest moment is doing the best that I possibly could, leaving nothing on the table, whether you like my work or didn't like my work. You know, bro, nobody was going to outwork me. So, you know, it was really to me a job, and I'm just very proud that I did the best that I could do. The circumstances weren't always easy, but I came out the other end, and I know that I did the best I could do.
So I have a, you know, one final question before we close out. Jim Cornette, that dude runs his mouth, and I don't think he's even relevant anymore. But you know, people don't necessarily get along like each other, but some of the things that he said, you know, like Dark Side of the Ring, you know, in the public eye. You know, what's the deal between you two?
There is no deal. It's him. I don't dislike Jim Cornette. I don't hate Jim Cornette. I never talk about Jim Cornette. I never say anything about Jim Cornette. I don't talk about Jim Cornette on my shows. I don't listen to Jim Cornette shows. That is 100% him. That is not me. Jim Cornette's got this war going on with me. It's become part of his gimmick. It's become part of his folklore. I don't think about Jim Cornette. I don't care what Jim Cornette does. I don't, like I said, man, I don't talk about him. I'm not interested in him. But he, like I said, man, he's made it a part of his act, but it's one-sided. I have no ill will towards the guy at all. And I'm being absolutely honest. And if he wants to go on carrying on like that and doing and saying the things he does, that's his prerogative. But if you watch my shows and if you follow me, you will see that's not how I handle myself as it concerns him.
Well, we appreciate you getting that out in the air, because that was one thing I was definitely curious about. So yeah. Before we wrap up, tell us where we can find your shows and your podcast.
Yeah, I got 2 platforms where I have so many shows, various shows every day. And like I said, some of the biggest names in the business do the shows with me. I have russosbrand.com. And the other format is patreon.com/Russo TWC. We start at like 75 cents a week, but you will get so much content, so much programming, unfiltered, unedited, with, you know, various personalities in the business that had been there and done that. So you're going to get a real flavor of what the wrestling business is all about.
Awesome, Vince. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to, you know, connect with us. And I know being a Colorado guy and loving the state, just so you know, Colorado does not end in Colorado Springs. You come down a little further south, you'll hit us here in Pueblo. So if you ever want to make the trip down here for the Colorado State Fair in September for the Chili and Frijoles Festival, we'd love to get you down here and show you around if you ever make.
I actually have a cousin in Pueblo, but I've never been there to visit him, but I actually have family there, and I always mean to get down there, man.
Well, there's two good opportunities for you, later summer. So
yeah,
you'll definitely have to hit us up if you make it this far down.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We'll make it that far down. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, again, former, there's a lot of controversial moments in the wrestling world that this gentleman was a part of, but certainly impacted the wrestling industry as well. And a lot of good things that came out of it was, because of Vince Russo. So Vince, appreciate you taking the time to join us and Jack here on the Paradox of Sports.
Oh, thank you very much. I had a lot of fun. And Jack, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. We want to thank Mr. Russo for taking some time chatting. I was not as familiar with him as maybe some of the other wrestling guests and stuff we had. So I actually saw a post that your dad had commented on today. Was he kind of a heel within the writing world?
Kind of.
So,
If
like-
you could say that, yeah.
So he took on, was he working along, like when he was writing, who was he writing for?
WWE and WCW.
Okay, so when he was writing for WWE, was he working for WWE?
He was.
Like he was an
I don't-
independent journalist, like critiquing and writing about what he saw. No different than when you give your opinions on stuff.
Mhm.
He just built a clientele and built a following. Did they start to write him into some of the shows, or how did the wrestlers kind of call him out and have an issue with him, or how did he come to be so prominent?
I think it was when he moved to WCW, because he was the head writer for WWE before he moved. And I think he may have gotten a gig there with wrestling, with being actually on stage.
Gotcha. So head writer, he's not writing like for the New York Times. He's working for him, and like he's the head writer of the script of the shows.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So I understand. That wouldn't be a bad gig. We've talked about that before too, that'd be kind of cool to get into that side of it and write the script, but that has to be real involved. So another thing wrestling wise that has happened, you actually turned me on to the Pat McAfee show, just chatting with your dad about some of the stuff that you guys like to watch. And your dad had mentioned McAfee. And so I've been watching him daily, and I really like his show. He says a lot of swear words, but I think he does a good job with his NFL coverage. But here in the last couple of weeks, he's jumped on, what's the Friday night wrestling show?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
SmackDown.
Yeah. So he's been doing the announcing on SmackDown. Have you had a chance to watch any of that?
Yeah, he now is the commentator.
Do you like the job he does? Like, do you think he's doing a good job?
He's actually doing it really well. I like it. I'm impressed.
He talks about being nervous and kind of going into it, but he's a wrestling fan. He seems to really follow it and really enjoy it. So he has a pretty cool deal where he's doing his show 3 days a week in Indianapolis and then jumping on a jet, and then they'll do the show Thursday and Friday from a house in Tampa. And then he goes and does his show Friday night and then flies home. So that's a pretty cool gig.
Yeah.
What other storylines have we got wrestling wise? Anything major going on?
Oh, let me search up WWE for the store. I'm gonna search up WWE on Bing, and
Did you happen to catch the Rockies game this afternoon?
yeah. Or
Was
I
that not-
happened to catch the first game.
Yeah, they gave up 10 in the first before they even got a chance to swing the bats. That's just atrocious.
That's just bad. And then he did hit a grand. Tapia did hit a grand slam.
Yeah,
though.
but
you gotta
I
give
mean,
him
when
that.
you're down that far, who cares? Like that's too little, too late. Breaking news: Broncos tackle Jawan James has suffered a season-ending torn Achilles.
I
That's
hate it.
according to
I hate it when that happens. Like you get a season-ending injury before the season even starts.
According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Broncos right tackle Jawan James suffered a season-ending torn Achilles while working out today away from the team. Now, James is in danger of losing his $20 million salary because he was injured away from the team. That sucks.
Yeah. And then, so this is storylines. Jinder Mahal's returned to WWE and fought Jeff Hardy on the show main event. Daniel Bryan, I think, is gone from WWE because he lost to Roman Reigns,
Okay, so he's out.
I think. And then, like, a few things. I'm gonna find WWE rumors so that we can get into the good stuff. Because that's gonna be good.
Brandon Belt just hit a 2-run dinger for the Giants, top of the first. We're losing 2-0 again before we ever get to come up to bat.
Yep. Just so you know, the Rockies stink this year.
Oh, they're atrocious. Should we just start betting the Rockies to lose every game? We'd end up making money by the end of the year, I think.
Unless it's against the Pirates, because I read this website that ranked every team due to their ratings,
Yeah.
and number 28 was the Rockies.
Okay. So we'll have to make some decisions when they play the Pirates.
Yeah. Let me find some rumor. Hold on. I think I'm able to find them. Hold up. WWE rumor roundup. Oh wait, first of all, by the way,
Yes.
there's going to be a new Mr. Beast burger in Castle Rock. I'm excited.
Why?
I don't know. Mr. Beast is one of the best YouTubers out there. And he's
Oh,
started
okay.
a burger business, like in North Carolina, where
Okay.
they would go and pay people that went there. And I think they're good burgers.
Mr. Beast Burger Restaurant. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now.
Or top 5 rumors. Okay. We've got Dawn Marie almost got in trouble for letting Randy Orton sleep in her hotel room.
Uh-oh.
All right. And then number 4. And John Cena's dad says that Otis could be leaving soon.
I hope not. That's one of our Thunderwolves, isn't it?
Yeah. Eva Marie could return to WWE.
Okay. Would you be happy if that happened?
That'd be good.
Okay.
Did Jeff Jarrett threaten Vince McMahon in WWE? He was like, Vince didn't have to pay me the night of the China match. He's the promoter. He's the boss. You know, Jeff helped Vince up. Really? With the 38 or 45? I mean, come on. That's so preposterous. But he gave me the check. I tried to give my effort as much as humanly in me each evening, and I did that night as well, said Jarrett. So I think that's some grounds for
Termination.
threatening.
Yeah.
WWE referee John Cone gets a big role backstage.
Okay.
And that's because Mark Carrano got fired because he sent the belongings of released superstars in trash bags. And it's led Cone getting a big promotion. He almost got and now he's the second in command after John Laurinaitis in talent relations. was previously the manager of talent relations, but the firing opened up a spot. So yeah, top 5 rumors for
Nice.
WWE.
Okay. Well, good job with that interview, man. That was a good one. Good luck this weekend with the baseball.
Thank
So you guys kick a little butt. We'll get together, talk about it here next week or the week after. So if you want, go ahead and get us out of here.
All right. That's it for this week's edition of the Paradox of Sports podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And comment down below on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your favorite team? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you think they drafted? See you guys next week on the Paradox of Sports podcast.